Good morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel Elconin. Welcome to Pre-Market Info. And a big welcome for our listener down in Monroe, Don Steve. Glad to have you on the broadcast today and looking for some questions out of you. But Dennis, the market, I tried to put in a double top in the market in our preview for the show, and we're already through it.
There's
We already
no
have taken out.
stopping this market. It just continues to just slow, steady climb. Doesn't matter what kind of news comes out. This market just shrugs off whatever. I mean, we're strong. Even that pre-market chart is straight up. There's no pullbacks even in the pre-market when you go back to that chart there, Joel. It's just a straight, steady climb there too. I mean, this market is it's strong.
Yep, 1650 is what we hit overnight. We're only three ticks away from that. Oh 09 and a quarter did get a little dip below the close, but that didn't last long. I tell you, 1628.50 is the number I got on the upside. But again, if I told you how I came up with that number, I'd have to kill you.
I don't know how you come up with the numbers either when they're making new highs, but let's go to Google. Wow, it just keeps breaking out all-time highs again yesterday for Google. It's up another $1.25 here in the pre-market, but basically in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trading sessions, we've went from 800 to 862.80 now. So it's been quite the run, quite the quiet run, because you haven't seen everybody, really jumping on the Google. They were talking about it a bit yesterday, but quietly rallying 60 points here in the last 6 trading sessions.
Have I ever told you about the death double gap trap here?
No, I want to know what that's all about.
That's a double gap up in the market,
Uh,
okay, or in a stock.
Gap and
Not a
go.
health. Yeah, gap and go. It's just not a healthy technical formation. Who knows? It could go to 900 first before it comes down and fills those gaps. But just have to keep an eye on 861.85. That was the high. We closed just off that yesterday. Let's take a look at the pre-market. We did sneak up to the 865 level. After 865, your next resistance is at 900.
And then you got Apple's been running here too. We did take out that 460 level that we were talking about. We thought we'd run there, and we did. We've taken it out this morning here. We're now trading at 460. Stock is marching here too. This trend, if you went to the dailies and drew this trend line, is just straight up here. I don't see much until this high that we had back on the 25th. It was 469.95.
Correct.
That's probably the next big bogey here. That's 5 points away. We'll have to see if it can get there today, but that's probably your next little resistance area.
Right, you did have a high on the day before that at 465.84. We hit 465 in the pre-market, so there's your points of resistance coming back on the downside. Boy, we're $5 away from the close at 460.71. That should be a good support in the stock if we do get any kind of pullback. But holy smokes, I tell you, if you didn't get in when this thing was looking ugly here, you would have had to been quick to catch it off. It's
Yeah,
actually
I'm
this
kicking
has
myself
three
too.
gaps.
I'm kicking myself on this. I do have it for in my investment portfolio too, but I picked it up on a trade at 415.
Right.
And of course, the day trader that I am, it popped 5 points in like 20 minutes, and I was like, I'm taking the quick 5 points, and it's been straight up ever since. So I sold 420 or whatever, wherever 419 and a half I think it was that day. And I was thinking, well, 420 was a little. You always when you're in the stock, you find a reason to sell it when it seems to be at 4 or 5 points. And I thought that 420 area might give you a day or two of resistance. It just blew through there like nothing, and it's just been straight up ever since. So. Still happy I've got the investment. Wish I still had the trade though.
You know what I can't get out of my mind when thinking about this stock? What's it make? Like 14, $15 a share or whatever.
A
Pays
quarter. It makes
pays a
$10 a quarter. It makes like $45 a share. Yeah, it makes
right.
like a
And
ridiculous amount of money.
and uh and they're buying back like $1 trillion worth of
I know.
stock. Okay, and now you got some of the value investors on. They pay a dividend. Okay, I mean all these things going on, and then you get and this stock has just been wallowing here since 700. And then I know I'm going to get you going on a rant here. Then you get a stock
I
like
know. I
Netflix.
know.
Okay, I don't know, what do they make, like 84 cents or something like that. I
Yeah.
mean, and here this thing that with the valuation and the PE, the money that they make compared to Apple, and people talk about Apple not diversifying products. I mean, Netflix has, get a movie in the mail or whatever. I guess you can stream it now, but just in the back of my mind, I just like, when is the street gonna wake up and short the daylights out of the Netflix and buy the Apple?
I don't know. Well, they started to do it a bit yesterday. I actually am in that trade right now. I shorted Netflix here yesterday when it broke down through the 210. I still have it on for full disclosure here. The thing starts to get up. I don't know where my out's going to be in the 217, 218 area. I'm a light position, so I'm going to give myself about 8 or 9 points here of risk. I think, I like the breakdown yesterday. I don't like the fact that it closed fairly strong, though.
Yeah.
So, hopefully, I'm hoping it's going to be some follow through here today. I was hoping when it broke down through the number that it would continue and close weak. It closed strong, which makes me a little bit nervous on the short. But I was looking, when I'm looking at that gap up area, and when it started to fill it, I play those gaps, and that's just, the trade is, to try to play in those gaps. And this is a swing trade; it's a longer term trade. I'm looking to make 20 or 25 points, risking 8 or 9. Yeah, so that's
You need a downgrade. You need a downgrade by somebody.
it just
Like
doesn't seem to happen, though. I mean, there's just everybody has jumped on this bandwagon despite the multiple, despite the valuation. The stock just keeps marching, so I am fighting the tape on this one. So I don't know if I suggest people follow me, but I've hated the stock for a while, and I keep trying to short it, and it doesn't seem to work. So I'm trying it again, giving it a run again. We'll see what the hell happens.
You need a downgrade by like Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, and J.P. Morgan all on the same day.
Yeah, well, might do something, anyways, at least for one day. First Solar reported earnings there last night, 69 cents versus 75, so that's a mess. The revenue is great though, 755 million versus 725 million. Originally sold it off on the bottom line miss, and then they were like, "What? Those revenues are good," and then they rallied it up. You can see the spike up, got over $49. Has started pulling back here in the pre-market. Has been kind of a steady decline in the pre-market here too, 46.40. I'd expect a pretty wild range. I think you're going to see a 2 or 3 point range in this in the regular session here too.
This is kind of a funky story with this stock. They came out a couple weeks ago on the daily and said, "Hey, we're going to do okay. We're going to have a better quarter." Then you got this move here, huge move for this stock, probably just obliterated some shorts.
Oh,
Then you had another move up here. And then I guess the reason it's trading down a little bit is I guess that they just barely missed the the
Bottom
up.
line,
Yeah, the up bottom line here. But boy, this stock has got a lot of room here to give on the downside. I keep eyeing this 46 level of 45.62 is the low that you have right here. I believe he did take that out in the pre-market. This spike down here was way down at right when the news came out. It went down to 45.04. So that would be 46.40 and 45.04, the two levels I've been looking at. And then when you get this kind of move on the upside, in one day, it could be right back.
Can give it back. I don't think so, though. I think I'm going to take the other side of that trade. I think they're going to come in and buy this thing. I don't know why. I'm just looking at what happened after hours last night. What happened was they looked at it, they missed, but then they liked the revenue. They liked some of the stuff that they said, and they rallied it up. Now they're starting not to like it as much. I think during the regular session when you get all the players, because you got to remember something, probably 98% of the players out there do not trade pre-market and after hours. So that's why, obviously, when the regular session starts, there's so much, the moves are so much more valid. So I think, when those regular players come in, they're going to have a similar opinion to maybe what they did after hours, and they may come in and buy the stock. But we'll have to see. Obviously, that's just, my thoughts.
I kind of sense a little bit of a wager here.
Okay, yeah. I will take, and we got to go out a little bit here because this is First Solar. I'll take the 49. And it's right now at 46.29, and I'll even be nice and I'll give you a little extra. I'll give you the 44. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, risk return for you there. You're only losing 2.5 points.
Why are you doing that, man?
I'm being nice. That's how confident I am. That's how confident. I'm going to give you the 44 bucks sold.
You guys ought to short it right now. No.
Yeah.
I was going to go 48.22 versus 44.22, but or 48.20, but
yeah.
Hey, if you're giving
being
up
nice,
the edge,
I'm even giving you odds.
Yeah, the king of making markets is giving up the edge. Then I'm going to write this one.
Okay.
I'm going to write this down.
We'll see.
You got 50 and I got 44.
49. I said I wanted because I wanted if it can tick up near that old high, I want to be able to collect my money
40,
from you.
49 versus 44.
Yeah, I'm
Okay, I
being
hope.
really nice. 220, and it's got to go up 380 for me, or 280 for me. So I'm being really nice to you. I'm giving you that extra edge.
And it's a double payout if it happens before the end of the show.
Okay, Joel. TAP TAP had earnings here as well. Molson Coors actually no trades to report, but they missed 30 cents versus 34. It is offered down here in the pre-market. This guy's been offered there all morning. 3,600 shares at 50.75. The best bid's down at 49.35. So there's a buck and a half spread here right now. Looks like it's going to open down, obviously, because nobody's lifting that 50.75 offer, and they missed. I'd imagine you're probably maybe even going to open over yesterday or below yesterday's low.
Okay, looking at the dailies here, you do have a couple lows, 50.35 to 50.38. That was the lows from Friday and Monday. That's real good support in the stock. I imagine if you take that level out, you should easily knock on the door at 50. 49.92 will go by the wayside. 49.60 was the low that you had on April 18th, and then you got a gap to fill down to 49. So dealing with another gap situation here, and well, that will be the payoff on our bet, or my bet that we'll win on the First Solar.
DirecTV reported earnings $1.43 versus $1.08. That's a huge beat for DirecTV. This stock is trading up significantly in the pre-market. It's at 59.55 right now after closing at 57.96. So it's up a buck and a half. Where's that high, Joel? How high did that thing get?
60.49 was
About
the
a buck
high.
higher.
Yep, just a little while ago. We pulled back minor support here at the 59.50 level. Go to the dailies here. You're obliterating the former high. I believe that's got to be an all-time high. The stock has not been around that
I
much.
think so too. I'm
Yeah,
going out to my charts
yeah.
too, but I can go back to '05 just on this chart, and yeah, I can see. I think this is an all-time high for DirecTV too. So
So super major support at 58.45. That was the former all-time high in the issue.
disaster stock of the day, Doom, Aruba Networks. Cutting guidance for next quarter. They're seeing 11 to 12 cents. They were supposed to make 20. They're cutting revenue guidance, 144 to 147 million. I think that's almost worse sometimes when you cut the revenue guidance than the earnings guidance, because earnings you can sometimes fix, with different things, but when your top line is not meeting estimates, that's where they can really beat the stock up, and they are beating it up this morning. It's down $4 right now, down 18.5%. Trading through the critical 20 number. We're down at 17.95. It's an ugly, ugly morning for Aruba Networks.
Well, Aruba is a very nice place to visit, but it's not very big, so I don't know really what they have what kind of networking they need
Aruba
here. So
Networks.
that you just going
I
back
don't
to
know
the
if
fundamentals here. Looking at this stock, you just made a low at 17.41, getting a little reprieve off that, trading up at 17.98. This is one of those stocks that if you do have a position in, let's say you're short and you're getting this is pretty much a $4 drop overnight on a decent amount of volume, but really keep a close eye at the 1741 level. 1750 a hit, then you went down and made a 1741 low. So I'd keep an eye on that area. I have a feeling the dailies
There's
are
a
not going
number.
to
You got to go out a little bit farther. You got to go to 2012. I hunted it down faster than you, Joel. There it is. November the 2nd, 2012, 1764. That was the low. We bounced out of that area. Now we're up at 1804. That is a big bogey for you guys to watch. It's 1764 low that we set on the 2nd. I'm marking that one down on my paper.
Oh, so we're in agreement here. So that's a little bit scary. Yeah, you got the weekly support there. $4 overnight. I didn't get a chance to really examine the numbers and see how pitiful they were, but surely that should be a good number to take a look at in this morning session.
AIG getting downgraded at Goldman Sachs. Look at Goldman. You got to give Goldman props, because here's a stock that's just breaking out. It's making new 52-week highs here, and they have guts. Goldman will come out. No other analyst comes out and downgrades the stock right now because this chart looks phenomenal. Looks like a rocket ship. But you got to give Goldman props. They will hang it out there. They will make that bold call, and they're making that bold call this morning, downgrading AIG. 44.80. It's trading down 70 cents. Nobody's more influential than Goldman. Trading down 70 cents here in the pre-market. So AIG having a weak morning after 3-4 strong days.
Yeah, actually, one of our traders, sent me an email yesterday. That stock, looking for technical analysis on that stock, and I looked at the weeklies, and you were in an area where the stock, after it did the reverse split and came off hard off the $50 level, you just blew down to 50 through 45, and there was an old high at 46. I can't remember what the date was. We got up there near there yesterday, 45.85. Then we pulled back, closed at 48. I think with this, I'd like to keep an eye on the pre-market activity. So far, the low, you got a spotty trade here. Actually, 12,000 shares traded here at 44.41. Keep an eye on the low that you have right here at 44.41 and also 44.30. Looking at the dailies, you also got support at 44. 44.04 was yesterday's low, but below 44.04, here you go. You're dealing with the gap area once again. But I don't like to fake Goldman Sachs. I haven't made a lot of money doing that in the past. But as long as this stays above 44, I think you got to respect the uptrend.
And let's talk about Goldman Sachs chart itself, because this stock had a hell of a day yesterday. Big moves up. All the financials have been very, very strong. It's always a leader. We've always been saying that. Something else leads. The defensive names, like your pharmaceutical companies, have all been weak, but they've all passed the reins over to the financials, and the financials have been marching. And Goldman Sachs had a nice run yesterday. It's up again here, another 50 cents in the pre-market here this morning, trading at 149.
You got to keep an eye. It didn't quite get there yesterday, 149.54. You don't really have a level when it stopped at, around 150. And actually, the last two times it got through there, it went to 150 and 159, 150, 145. But, here you traded under 138, 137.29 just, less than 2 weeks ago. You got a $12 move here. You got people, hey, if Goldman gets back to 150, I'm going to get out. So I'd use that as resistance. Looking at the pre-market activity, you did.
That's yesterday's activity. There's not much of the pre-market
there's not much
happening.
there. 149, spotty trade at 149. But keep an eye on yesterday's high in the stock, 149.54. If you're a real nervous long.
And then you want to talk about an incredible move, Bank America yesterday. Obviously, they had the news with MBI as well. But Bank America had a nice run, just was flying right since the open. It opened up fairly strong around 12.37, never looked back. Stock just kept climbing. Now it's just below the critical $13 resistance area, trading at 12.95. Lo and behold, if we go back to March 19th, you have a 12.94 high, so we are right there right now. Can we take out that top and actually break out through 13 here today?
There's got to be a couple zillion for sale at 13, huh?
Yeah, opening so strong into it, though. You know what we always say? It's one thing when it opens at 12.75 and it's got a run to it, but here it's closed at 12.88. It's already at 12.95. It's going to give her a run probably right off the hop. So it all depends on 13 holds or not, but I think it's got a running start at it. It could easily just blow right through it.
Yeah, boy, but it had a 84-cent range yesterday, which is a big range for that. Not from yesterday.
54-cent range yesterday.
Yeah, 54-cent range.
Big range, though.
That's a big range, and then use 13 if you have it. If you've jotted it down for a while and you said that's your exit point. Hey, leave your order out there, get done, and then forget about it and move on to the next trade, because it could easily trade to 13.05 and then be right back down under that number. I look for good support at the close, though, at 12.88. There seems nothing to shake this market. We keep going up. Every time you're thinking of putting in a sell order, you should put in a buy order.
Yeah, you really should, and I think you should in this case, too, because I think Bank of America's going to blow through the 13. I think we're going to see this thing up at 13.20, 13.25 today. I love my two-day move. I'm always a big fan of my two-day move, and I think the Bank of America can blow through this $13 level. Yeah, a couple other ones like Morgan Stanley, J.P. Morgan, all these other financials, they've all been had pretty decent days. J.P. Morgan not so much, but Morgan had a good day yesterday. So J.P. Morgan's kind of just been chopping around. There's your, what do you call that chart? The accordion chart you call it or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, there's been a lot of board meetings and stuff about, I don't know about getting rid of Jamie Dimon here, but you've had a nice, really nice resistance point here above 49.50, but still a buck and a quarter away from there. But hey, who knows? The way these markets move, it could easily get there today.
Well, we're running short on time here, Joel. Let's just give an overall thoughts on the overall market. 16.16 a quarter. The high has been 16.17 overnight. The low has been 16.0925. Slow, steady climb here this morning. We just continue to march higher on the strength of obviously the financials this morning, and on the strength of some of your other ones like Caterpillar trading up. You've got Disney earnings tonight, and it's trading up here 40 cents ahead of that. So you've got some strength across the board here.
Right. It's hard to fade this market, even though I love to. But keep an eye. The overnight high right now, 16.17. Have a number up at 16.2850. Keep an eye on. I think on the downside, now you have to look at Friday and Monday's highs at 14 and a quarter and 15 and a quarter. Believe it or not, that's going to be support in today's session. So if you get a couple point pullback, look for buyers to cover their shorts from yesterday, and looks like they're gunning to close the Dow over 15,000 today, so it should be interesting to watch.
That's our show for today, guys. Have a great trading session, and we'll be back with you tomorrow.